All right, Cryptonauts, or should I say Ravenites, this episode is actually for the Ravencoin community. It is a special, I guess you can call it a special episode because this is like not technically on the calendar. This is just me going out my way of doing a little extra for the Ravencoin community because there's so much going on in Ravencoin in the past couple of days. It's kind of building up to the halvening, right? So what I wanted to do is take some time to actually show transparency of what's been going on through the developer's eyes. So if you're not part of the Discord yet, the Ravencoin Discord community, I highly recommend you get connected there so you can see exactly what's going on through the community and all these different channels that are being developed. We are actually currently live streaming, I guess you can say, in Twitter Spaces. It's the Raven Dev Community Discussions. If you guys want to come join us, you guys can join us in Spaces. You can search me at Blockchain John or at C3 Media number 2, right? So come hang out. Anyways, let's get started. So we're going to start off with here. As you can see, for the viewers, you can check this out on YouTube, right? Go ahead and search C3 Media on YouTube, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But for the listeners, I'm going to go ahead and actually read and transcribe what was discussed in the past week or two. So here we go. Ready? There's a lot of stuff here, and I'm really excited. We're going to start off with October 29th, 2021. This is in the Discord Ravencoin Development Meeting channel, okay? So October 29th at, it doesn't show the exact time, Tron started off the conversation with, channel is open, Wolf Sokta, awesome, hey Tron, Sevi, greetings all, what's happening? Let's see, Kralverde, Cult of Joe, when do you all expect to merge P to SH? Sevi said, the question on everyone's mind, huh? And Boats and Hose +1. Tron responds, just a few more changes to add / fix / ignore the issues brought up by the security audit report. Boats and Hose responds, any way we can do the fork vote November 5th? Sevi says, LOL. 3 years later, asset gets P to SH would be a propose. Wolf Sakta, that would be cool. Sevi, it's probably late though. We would need to achieve consensus 1.4 days in advance of the 5th so that the new code would activate at block height occurring within November 5th. Okay. Tron says, just a reminder that there is a meetup in Ravencoin campus tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Wolf Sakta said, date night in Ravenland. Tron post a link, download.ravencoincampus.org. Sevi responds, I am going to say what has been on a few people's minds. These meetings have been very sparsely attended and haven't contained a lot of commentary on the state of development. That pattern is not one I find acceptable. Tron, can you comment on the trend? Is there simply not much development to discuss? Tron responds with a tweet from Humble Miner. It says, let's see, what does this tweet say? It's time for at Ravencoin meetup. Event will take place in Braveland at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Then Sevi says, I think a lot of people would like to see a bit more commentary during these meetings if there is any to be made. I understand that the Foundation and Ravencoin are separate things, but it could be appropriate to discuss the state of the Foundation and any events, actions you've been involved in each week, Tron. For whatever reason, you seem to somewhat laissez-faire in the last several meetings. Wolf Sakta says, I'm really hoping that we can get some traction on developing the Mindable asset proposal further and getting some bounties created soon. Tron responds, we are at the tail end of a long development cycle. The project is valued at over $1 billion, not including the value of assets, and so it is by design a slower, more careful approach. Sevi responds, I also recall that in the past, you've at least stated things about being unable to talk about certain things due to disclosure agreements and such. as was the case with Finclusive a year ago, I believe. Wolfsakta agreed. Tron responds, there is a new discussion of mindable assets. Everyone should look at the proposal and give feedback. This will probably be added to the roadmap soon. Wolfsakta is writing up the specs. M4R, what is it? M4R1MO. Is it Mario? Marimo jumps into the conversation. This development cycle has just been adding functionality that should have already been in place when assets were launched, which would be nice to get some disclosure surrounding new innovations for Ravencoin. Tron responds, the goal with mineable assets is to allow projects to mine tokens into existence with wide distribution and keep some of the mined tokens to fund projects. The Coinbase space will have a cost, but for some projects, it will provide automatic distribution and awareness. Wolfsakta responds, WETX was on the main stage at the Silicon Slopes Tech Conference in Salt Lake City. This was our first slide. Okay, so it says digital water assets and markers powered by Ravencoin blockchain technologies. Okay, Tron responds, currently the proposal is 1 Raven per mined block that has the new mined asset. The asset issuer can decide how frequently to have their assets in the blocks as well as a max distribution. There will be bounties posted for both proposals after the feedback is collected and the design refined. Wolfsakta responds, I'm working on the specs now and will likely post them as an issue in GitHub. Boats and Hose jumps in the conversation. Is the goal to get mineable assets in the next fork, or is this a down the line thing? Wolfsakta responds, probably not in the next one. We'll want to really test the new features. We'll have a security review. Okay. Tron responds, oh, the other proposal is for the emulation of the RPC calls to make it easier to integrate mined or issue tokens into exchanges that are used to RPC calls for Bitcoin / Litecoin / Ravencoin / Dogecoin, etc. So here's a link that Tron posted, github.com/Ravencoin project /Ravencoin /tree /master /roadmap /compatibility -mode. Wolfsakta responds, that will make it easier for exchanges to list the mineable assets as well as any other assets on Raven. Boats and Hose, is there an ETA on this? Wolfsakta responds, timing will depend on devs picking up the bounties. That's hard to estimate. I'd like to work with the foundation to have the bounties defined in the next week or so. Boats and Hose says, wait, there are bounties that need to be done in order to get the P2SH fork out? ? Wolfsakta responds, I thought you were talking about mineable assets and compatibility mode. Boats and Hose says, I was not. Boats and Hose responds, the board has not had a meeting in 5 months. I think they should get their the non-profit affairs in order before they bite off more. Tron responds, I don't have a time frame. If there are PRs, I'll review and approve them. The board has met each month. The notes need to be posted. Boats and Hose responds, sorry, a bit foggy. What specifically needs to happen in order to initiate the fork for P2SH? Tron responds, each of the issues brought up in the security audit needs to be addressed, fixed / ignored. Okay. By ignored, I mean that the quick write-up needs to be done as to why it isn't a real problem. The block hashtag start and percentage needs to be set for the fork. The version number needs to be set. The code needs to be merged. All the binaries, Windows, Mac, Linux needs to be built and signed. Boats and Hose responds, thank you. Has anyone started to break down each issue of the audit yet? Wolfsakta responds, it would be good to create GitHub issues for each of them and start knocking them out. Boats and Hose responds, indeed. It's hard to believe that someone has not already done so. I don't mind doing it, but don't want to work. But don't want to do the work that has already been done. Tron responds, there have been comments and analysts on the items in the security report, but I am unaware of any issues created or code changes. Okay. Boats and Hose responds, at FDOV, you had comments on the audit, right? Question mark. Tron responds, Tron responds, some of the issues are of a nature that the security analyst is correct, but a change fix will potentially cause a fork. These need to be handled carefully or just documented as to why the changes isn't being applied. Boats and Hose responds, if foundation money goes anywhere, it may be best to hire a person who is capable of doing things like this, and by default, because they are being paid, has the time. We'll table that for the next open foundation meeting. Okay. Tron responds, at least one of the issues is just completely wrong and needs to be documented as such and then ignored. Savvy responds, what issue is completely wrong? Tron responds, the issue about secure_string. Wolfsocta responds, yeah, it was pointing out the security risk in .NET. .NET isn't used anywhere in the Raven code. Tron responds with a link, discord.com/channel/a bunch of numbers. Savvy responds, okay, I recall this, and yes, it speaks to the alleged lack of utility of the auditors. Boats and Hose responds, starting the GitHub issue, we'll ask a mod to ping to news to get eyes on it when submitted. Boats and Hose responds, if only there was a rate my teacher for crypto audits. Anything else that needs to be addressed today? Question mark. Wolfsocta responds, what can I do to help at Tron to get next release out the door? Question mark. What is that? Shimper? Shimper responds, yeah, I have not posted in 6 months, but who's counting? Wolfsocta responds, no, excuse me, my apologies. Boats and Hose responds, at Wolfsocta, I'll tag you with the GitHub issue if you can help with that. There are only 5 things. Shimper responds, don't think it was answered, so I'll ask again. Do we have a date on the hard fork? Question mark. Wolfsocta responds, okay, I think I'd be down to have 5 issues rather than a single big one. Shimper responds, TBH, mining assets sounds fun, but I think there should be a push for messages to asset holder functions. Boats and Hose responds, okay, I'll do it that way. He was responding to Wolfsocta earlier. Tron responds, the core protocol already has messages. It is up to wallets or websites to publish the info. Shimper responds, can you link any info on this? Question mark. I have never seen this. Would love to use this. Savvy responds, it's been in the console for ages. Shimper responds, or anyone really. Tron responds, there is not a fixed date for the fork. There will be a start date added to the code so that it can start monitoring the network for activity mined blocks with the new code and counting them. Shimper responds, to send IPFS to asset holders from the main asset? Question mark. Shimper responds, what is the timeline devs thinking this would happen? Tron responds, probably late November to December for the binaries. Shimper responds, thanks. FDOV jumps into the conversation. Yes, the audit is useless. They have no clue how Ravencoin works. Their suggestions would create a minimum of 2 hard forks on their own. Waste of time and energy. They found only non-issues or minor niche, which has nothing to do with security of functionality. Only maintainability and cleanliness. As an example, they claim we should fix at least 2 issues in code we have that is identical to Bitcoin. I trust Bitcoin more than I trust some random dude writing that report. Shimper responds, I will look into the messaging, but I know that it's not in the GUI. Boats and Hose responds, just submitted the issues /5 vulnerabilities at github.com/ravencoin/raven, github.com/ravenprojects/ravencoin/issues new. Okay. Sever responds, waiting 10 months to implement code that should have existed on November 5th, 2018 because we need to wait for a company to tell us wrong stuff is embarrassing. Shemper responds, we did have a 300 million Raven exploit because someone let the code in. Boats and Hose responds, in your eyes, is there anything that needs to change before the P2SH fork is put out for vote? Question mark. Shemper responds, which we will not go into why that happened. Boats and Hose responds, agreed, but still, got to do due diligence. Shemper responds, but from my understanding, this fork needs to happen quickly. F-Dob jumps in the conversation. This happened because this project has close to no developers. With only 2, 3, 4 guys doing any code, the trust in the code is limited, not much peer review, etc. The solution is to delay and pay for reports. Sever responds, and we recently seem to have all but lost Hans. Boats and Hose responds, at FDob, would you mind helping to comment on the audit suggestions on GitHub so we can get the ball rolling? I already made 5 issues. Wolf Sokta responds, that would be awesome. Boats and Hose giving a little prayer there, a little prayer emoji. FDob, currently, it is a hard fork if implemented like it is currently on testnet. So yes, if it is activated, it will kick all the old clients off. Everyone will need to update within a limited time frame. Sever responds, it needs to happen with BIP 9, a high consensus so we don't split the chain unnecessarily, not quickly. FDob responds, everyone will be gone with this pace. I don't get it. Everyone will be gone with this pace. There are 1,000 other projects for anyone interested. Okay. Sever responds, seems like yeah. So what do we do? LSJI07 jumps in the conversation. Based on the previous fork, what timescale are we looking at between releasing the new release and starting BIP 9? Shemper responds, 80% approved and we good. That's not the problem. The issue is doing it when the devs feel good about the fork. Boats and Hose responds, at Tron, there is also an issue with a sizable percent of the authorized to approve the code change on GitHub on GitHub being AFK for years. There really are only a couple gatekeepers, you included, for this. If changes are going to happen, that list needs to be culled, then opened up. Just my 2 sats on that. Tron responds, agreed. Boats and Hose responds, at Tron, I can't find the link you posted a while ago that showed all the users who could approve code changes. Do you mind sharing that link again? FDob responds, well, we can select that in code. I don't recall the consensus or if we agree on anything, but I do recall I once had some opinion on how to do it. Boats and Hose responds, Mindable assets and stuff sounds cool, maybe, but it looks more and more like attention should be focused on DevOps, at least at this current time. At Chaturga, is that your wheelhouse? Chaturga jumps into the conversation. Mindable assets or code change approvals? LSJI07 responds, I remember vaguely it was set to something like 6 weeks or close to that, and exchanges and pools were mostly done in 2-week period. Jaraz wielded the force and did some amazing work on that, in my opinion. Boats and Hose responds, code changes and logistics. Chaturga responds, negative. I don't have that permission to approve code changes. Boats and Hose responds, but if you did, At SpiderDev, ghosted so hard. Then Tron posted a screenshot here of everyone that is, what is this? Let's see here. Okay. I believe everyone that has the role. Okay. And the role consists of Bruce Fenton, Corbin Fox, Brad, Justin Kenlon, Raven Dev, Tron Black, Raven Devs again with an S, Master Roshi, Mark Ney, Tron, Under, Jesse MP. Okay, that's a screenshot there. Wolfsocta responds, some DevOps work would be awesome and would speed up all future developments. Here's another screenshot from Tron that says Corbin, Jesse MP, Dustin Lewis, Tron, Hyper Peak, Mark Ney, Brad, Hans Schmidt, Daniel Hyatt. Okay. Bolton Hose responds, he at Spider Dev should definitely be removed so someone else can take the spot. At Chaturga, if you're up to that, if you have my nomination. Chaturga posts a gift, phenomenal cosmic powers. If I had any knowledge of coding, I might be inclined, but I have no idea what I would be approving, so I'm probably not the best choice. Boats and Hose responds, what is the URL for that? Question mark. Wolf Socta responds, hello at Chaturga. It's nice to hear from you. It's been too long. You're a better choice than the current, which is basically no one. Wow. Chaturga responds, hey, Wolf. It's been a long time since I've typed that. Shimper responds, outside collaborators? Question mark. LOL. Chaturga responds, are we still on triangle target? Question mark. Shimper responds, a beta move. Tron responds, new list with a new screenshot here that shows Bruce. This says manage access. It shows Bruce Fenton, Raven Dev, Tron Black, Raven Devs, Master Roshi, Tron, Under, and Jesse Empey. Okay. Boats and Hose responds, we should probably wrap it up for the week. At Tron, if you could share the URL to that list, that would be much appreciated. Shemper responds, at Tron, does Bruce have to approve all code due to ownership? Question mark. Wolf Socta responds, no. Tron shows another screenshot here that's, let's see, 4 members. Jesse Empey, Tron, Hyperpeak, and Hans Schmidt. Okay. Mango Farms jumps into the conversation. Of course not Joe. Learn how to use GitHub or comment in the nest. Wolf Socta responds, the URL is in the admin section of GitHub, so it wouldn't do much good to non-admins. Tron responds, I think the URL requires permission. github.com/orgs/ravenproject/teams/ravendevs/members. Okay. Boats and Hose, the link is a 404. Tron responds, github.com/ravenprojects/ravencoin/settings/access. Wolf Socta responds, the URL is the admin section of GitHub, so it wouldn't do much good to non-admins. Okay, that makes sense. Boats and Hose, at Tron, can you hook it up? With admin read only for me, please? Question mark. Shimper responds, nice censorship. Deflection, but Tron has said this in the past. I was just saying it again. Tron responds, what's your GitHub username? FDob responds, Corviato1. Boats and Hose responds, Corviato1. Tron responds, invited as read only. Boats and Hose, thank you, with a little prayer emoji. Mango Farms responds, at Tron, the BTC GitHub repo publishes a list of the keys for the 7 people able to verify commits. It might be a good idea to add that to the public side rather than to the admin side of the GitHub repo for Raven, along with information on who has commit ability, so it isn't an invite only kind of thing. Here's a link by Mango Farms, github.com/bitcoin/bitcoin/blob/master/contrib/verify-commits/trusted-keys. just because that's the way GitHub allows access to admin info. FDOB responds, Mango Farm. I don't think Raven has ever used GPG keys for signing. We cleaned up the remains from the Bitcoin a few months ago, but I agree it's a good idea and it should be used. Mango Farm's response, understood. More referring to the list that Tron posted above in a publicly accessible place, even if no GPG keys are used. Boats and Hose, +1. Probably, Shrimper responds, probably pretty good info to know people only been begging for 2 years, always been in secret. Mango Farms responds, Tron has published a list on several occasions. The list for Bitcoin is a set of seven numbers. FDOB responds, understand, agree. Shrimper responds, still not public info today. Boats and Hose responds, I need to head out. Hope you guys have an awesome week and we get P2SH out as timely as possible. Mango Farms responds, have a great weekend, Boats. Wolf Sakta, scroll up, Shrimper. Shaturga responds, see ya, Boats. Wolf Sakta responds, thanks, at Boats and Hose. M4R1M0 responds, this has been stated a few times now and keeps getting glossed over / ignored, it seems. Something needs to be done about pace of development or we may soon find ourselves unable to even source developers for bounties. Wolf Sakta responds, I need to head out too. It was great to chat with you again. Chaturga responds, take care, Wolf. Wolf Sakta responds, you too. Tron responds, I'm off too. I hope to see everyone's avatars at the meetup tonight in Ravencoin campus. Mango Farms responds, see you there, Tron. I'm going to get ready for it. See everyone next time. Tron responds, closing the channel. Okay, perfect. And that was from October 29th, 2021 in the developers meeting channel in Discord. Okay, I'm going to continue on, you guys, for the November 5th. It's much shorter than what I just read, but I just want there to be transparency of what's going on in regards to development so you guys can get up to date of what's going on, just in case you guys miss anything. And this is all going to be recorded on the C3 Media YouTube channel. You guys can check that out as well, okay? And this is just me, Blockchain John, trying to get back to the Ravencoin community by giving you guys some information of what's going on in the development world. Okay, now let's move on to November 5th, 2021. Tron starts the conversation. Channel open. FDOB responds, hi. Hans Schmidt, yo. FDOB, I noticed the build check still does not handle .md. Changes well. But I noticed the PRs are made against master. Could be the issue, not sure. Hans Schmidt responds, IIRC. That's something that we don't have authority to change. Okay, FDOB responds, I guess if you change the target for the PR to develop, it will rebuild and hopefully work, ? I don't think the latest change number 1078 is merged to master yet. Tron responds, can you make a PR for moving develop to master? It will take approvals. If I make it, I can't approve it. FDOB responds, sure, 1 sec. Hans Schmidt responds, I believe you are correct on both counts. Tron responds, is anyone currently building on Mac Monterey? ? FDOB responds, I get some GitHub error. I'll create the PR later. I don't have Macs, but the new M1 Pro looks really nice. Crawlverde US gives a handshake or a hand wave emoji. Hans Schmidt, no Macs for me. FDOB responds, I can build for Mac. Tron responds, I just got this 16-inch M1 Max yesterday. I'm setting up the build environment and running into a few issues. If anyone has logged through the issues already, let me know. FDOB responds, I guess there are tons if you try to use the depend/system. I'm pretty sure that does not work. Tron responds, yeah, so far it hasn't worked. there is info on the ones I've run into so far, so I'm just documenting the issues as the solutions as I go. Then we can either update the build docs or fix the make system to compensate for the environment changes. FDOB responds, do you install the depends with brew? Tron responds, some of both so far. Apple has moved the default location for the SDK, so I'm working on that now. The SDK can't legally be added to the repo, installed with Xcode or downloadable from Apple. FDOB responds, you can download it to your machine. I made some build scripts. Look for it in /tmp/SDKs. That is for cross-compiling for OS X. Fastest is probably to make Docker work and just cross-compile. Apple are so developer unfriendly, it's insane. Anyway, I've made some PRs I think would be good to get into the next release. If reviewed and approved, number 1115, probably the most important. Hans Schmidt responds, thanks. I saw the PRs. I will review and approve. FDOB responds, if the P2SH ACID part needs more reviewing, I'm all for a release with the code in, but not activated on mainnet. Making a new release with activation is easy. Hans Schmidt responds, I guess that's up for debate whether people want to be cautious and release without P2SH assets. FDOB responds, I'm fine with both. Tron responds, we should set an activation date where it can begin to count the blocks towards activation percentage, possibility of activation before or after halvening? What percentage should we target? Super conservative 95%, conservative 90%, anything less than 75% seems risky. FDOB responds, whatever Bitcoin uses 80-90%, 90-ish. Tron responds, 80 or 85 seems right. It will be difficult to get 85 with the communication channels that we have with the mining pool. 75% has been easy and requires some push with translated localized information. The downside of Hans Schmidt responds, the downside of having really decentralized mining. FDOB responds, hard forking without 80 plus isn't nice to others, to the other 20-25%. Someone _2 responds, it seems like previous forks were at 85%, but it did brush into some obnoxiousness and absurdity trying to get the word out. 80% may be more practical, but then you also have a bit more risk of conspiracy stuff erupting. FDOB responds, just set a long timeout and set the notification time. After lock-in before activation to more than 1 day. Tron responds, agreed. We can count the blocks that are mined as a trigger for activation. All economic actors, exchanges, merchants, known users should be notified in advance of the possibility of activation. Most important are exchanges, swap sites, and merchants. Users, spenders will not hurt if they spend on the wrong chain. They update and spend again. FDOB responds, I think we should consider the number of blocks in the retarget period after lock-in. Tron responds, a longer cycle than one 2016 block cycle? FDOB responds, yes. Tron responds, the cycles are inherited from Bitcoin, but since the blocks are 10 times faster, the lock-in to activation is 1.4 days instead of 14 days. FDOB responds, exactly. Tron responds, do we keep the 1.4 days counting cycle? Or just add a 0 to the number of blocks for both to make it both 2 weeks? 20160 blocks, 20,160 blocks per cycle. FDOB responds, add the 0, it's easiest. Hans Schmidt responds, I agree. The current setting has never seemed appropriate to me. Add a 0 makes sense. FDOB responds, if we make that change, users of the old wallet will get notifications for 14 days after the count is finished, and the future is locked in before anything activates. Hans Schmidt responds, exactly what we want. Tron responds, okay. FDOV responds, if you are Big Exchange Inc. and ignore email notifications, releases on GitHub, etc., I hope you check logs at least once every 14 days. Hans Schmidt responds, it also gives social media more time to hear the buzz and distribute the message. Tron responds, I'll start notifying exchanges and swap sites as soon as we have a signed release candidate for download, even before the possibility of activation begins. FDOB responds, the earliest time of activation will be about a month after counting starts. In this case, if the first count period hits the threshold, Hans Schmidt responds, I gotta run, so TTYL. It was nice. It was a nice little mini reunion. FDOB responds, yeah, long time. Nice to see you later. At Tron, PR with a merge of current develop to master created number 1119. If you review and approve, I suggest we ask Hyperpeak to merge it. He's got a routine to merge it cleanly without the merge blah blah message in Git history. Tron responds, nice, thank you. FDOB responds, if you find the time, reviews of number 1111 and number 1113 and number 1115 and number 1118 should all be simple. Most manual backports from Bitcoin with the links to upstream changes. Most of them close CVE issues. Looks like that's it for today. I'll stick around in the nest and development for a while. Tron says, thanks at FDOV. And that is the end of the meeting from November 5th, which was last Friday, I believe, right? Yeah, and that was the end of that. So there's actually a lot more that's going on in development. That was just, all I did so far for the past 37 minutes was read verbatim what the development meeting has literally been documented in the meetings in the past two meetings, right? Now, I'm going to go back a little bit here in the development channel because there's some awesome stuff in there that I definitely want to read to you guys. Now, let's see, how much time do we have? Yeah, we got about another 40 minutes. Should I open this up for discussion so far, what I've read? Does anybody want to jump in and just give their thoughts of what I just transcribed so far? If you want, this is your chance right now. And by the way, this is all being recorded and will be published on the C3 Media channel. Okay. Okay. Give me 100% if you guys are listening. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, let's start off with, let's see. I don't want to go too far back, but back enough to give you guys an idea of what's going on. So I think let's go to the beginning of the month, 9 days ago. And let's start from there. So keep in mind, this is the conversation that's going on. I'm going to lose my voice, that's for sure. This is the conversation that's going on in developer meetings, right? Okay, so November 1st, 2021. This is in the discord.com development channel, okay? And I will be reading this verbatim. Shinzoop starts the conversation. Even though not open source, TRM is my go-to for AMD cards. Works so much better than other miners. I have some lower end 570s and 480s. I get 8 to 10 mega hashes on other miners if I'm lucky. TRM gets 12 to 15. Okay, and Seal Clubber responds, with some BIOS mod you can reach 12 to 15. 44% response when Kapow optimization for 3,000 cards? Question mark. Seal Clubber responds, 30 series are already the most efficient. Kinkajou response, 6800 XT more efficient. Seal Clubber response, how much more? Question mark. 0.214 kilohashes a watt on 3770 IIRC. Kinkajou responds with a link, reddit.com/r/ravencoin/comment/ what is that? fur1v/Radeon 6800. Okay. And Seal Clubber responds with a with an emoji, big eyes. Me want. Kinkajou responds, yep. And they were going for about $600 when the 3770 was launched. Seal Clubber responds, 3070 would still be cheaper MSRP wise. Even now with inflated prices, 3070 is somewhat cheaper, but that makes that makes sense. Also, look into the undervolt is kind of limited. It could probably be even lower. Kinkajou responds, yeah, but you've cherry picked the best number JIR gave for the 3070, and this card is still minus 70 plus or minus 25% more efficient and a non XT 6800. I take the 3070 for ease of use, but I think Big Navi is the way to go if efficiency is all you care about. If only they had 8 gigabyte version. 44% response at Just Research told me it could be easily optimized even more, and I trust him since there is research in his name. Kinkajou response at Oh God a Girl confirmed that current Kapow algo is tuned for Polaris/10 series cards IIRC. A rework of ProgPow would make it more efficient on newer cards, but at the cost of a hard fork. 44% response, damn, that's so 2016, time for hard fork. Wait, aren't you hard forking anyway soon? Kinkajou responds, I don't have the data to back up the assertion, but I would be willing to bet that an overall majority, or at least close to it, of GPU miners worldwide across all coins/algos are still using Polaris cards. They've been such workhorses for years, and there are so many out there still sold/resold. Kinkajou responds, hopefully. 44% responds. So what you're saying is that you are waiting for large farms to upgrade because most small miners aren't running Polaris cards? Kinkajou responds, but it's doubtful an algo rework would be ready/audited in time. Kinkajou responds, I'm not waiting for anything myself. My stance is that the algo is still working as intended, so there is no need for a hard fork at the moment. No FPGAs A6 on chain. Why fork? 44% response. Sure about FPGAs? Oh, got a girl responds. You won't need an audit. Audits are only for adjustments of the underlying code. This is the changing for parameters. Until you get a 98% utilization reading on the GPU, the audit would give the same results as you're not changing the underlying code or cryptography or design. Oh God, a girl responds, yes, I am. However, if you need to fork right now, since Polaris will be dominant mining card until Ethereum's merge. And even after that, I think you have until 2023-2024. 44% response. Okay, I guess I've talked with people that are full of shit then. Kinkajou responds, I also believe we won't need one, but I thought @Tron should said he would like one for every consensus change. Oh God, a girl responds, I am aware of the claims that there is a Kapow bitstream and one exists at parity or worse with GPUs. I am also aware that some competing coins against Raven who claim there are exploits or bugs in Kapow exploited by said FPGAs. Push jumps into the conversation. Hey folks, it seems that our Raven D on our Explorer is not playing nice for a while, and blockchain Explorer services not as stable as expected. And here's a screenshot of what's going on. There's a bunch of warnings, warnings, and warnings. Anyone seen anything like this before? Question mark. I tried increasing the worker queue, but not sure what's up, or if it's a known bug. FDOV response. Proc PAL is made to be adjusted. It's basically a few lines defining the settings. Changing them does not need an audit by itself, in my opinion, but it will need some transition magic to switch from one setting to the next. I would avoid it for as long as possible. FDOV response at push. Is this 4.3.2.1 or 4.7.0 test X question mark? Push response 4321 stable release at FDOV. It seems like the Explorer is sending a lot of requests or making a lot of connections, and RavenD goes oops and makes and mess and restarts. I think it might be a bug because it's only recently developed. I resynced the entire data chain, set and wiped folders and config etc. To be sure before, but it's being reluctant, and Explorer isn't so stable at the moment because of this. It's like RavenD gets stuck in a loop. I will look more intensively at RavenD logs now. FDOB response. Okay, you could try the latest test binaries if you are comfortable with that. We've upgraded ZMQ. I have no idea about the actual issue, but I know ZMQ had its share of issues the last few years. Maybe a build with a newer version could help. Push response. Yeah, I reckon it is some weird ZMQ bug because it's been a reliable workhorse for most of the part. But issues got worse recently and complaints a lot about, and here's another screenshot that's showing a bunch of errors. I will try a new binary, and if that helps, I will let you know. FDOB response. Block height out of range? Question mark. By the way, this is a conversation already rolling over to November 2nd. Push response. Yeah, it is bizarre. With that, Ravencoin reports as the ZMQ connections dropping is going on. Maybe it's just because the connection dropped and it gets unhandled or unexpected output. I didn't look deeply. I will just compile the binary from the latest source and see how that goes. Bit of a mystery. Had been stable for months, so was reluctant to do this, but I'm guessing at this point it's just a bug oddity with ZMQ. I'll know in a sec if replacing the RavenD binary fixes the Ravencoin oddities momentarily anyways. FDOB response. Make sure to check out the develop branch if you want. You can fetch binaries from github.com/ravenqt-rvn-sig/ravencoin/releases built and signed by me. Push response. Cool, man. Yeah, thanks. That helps. It's been a little while since I've had to pull the latest dev releases. I was curious what release I should pull for the next major Ravencoin OS. Someone mentioned it's there now. FDOB response. Well, since releasing anything here takes ages, I would recommend 4.7.0 test 2. Some nice improvements, especially in the Qt GUI. Fixed a few noticeable lag/slowdown issues among other things. Push response. Buffer overflow detected. Ravencoin-node/bin/ravend terminated. Meh. Just what is going on with you, RavenD? Heh. FDOB response. GTG. Pick up a kid. BBL. Push response with Pepe. Give a thumbs up. And there's a screenshot here. I can't really see what this is. Raven version 4.3.2.1 and whitelist. Okay. I'm not sure what that is. Reckon the buffer overflow is legit anyways. Just ZMQ being ZMQ, I hope. Already resynced once to be sure. 44% responds. A Raven got FPGAs now, so at least on our farm, no, it's Chinese farms migrate to us. who also got it. Guys on a mining server. I have no proof, however. FDOV responds, I think they get their FPGAs to work with Kapow. It is probably about as expensive as GPUs per megahash. Brian MCT joins the conversation. Anyone look at Thorchain/Rune before? Question mark. It's a cross-chain DeFi platform for cross-chain swaps. You can swap directly from BTC to ETH, for example, without using any wrapped assets. Would be pretty cool to add Raven to the ecosystem. And here's a link, twitter.com/thornoobs/status, and a bunch of numbers after that. Kralverde responds, we need P2SH for assets, but it would work for normal Raven. Brian MCT responds, yeah, I was thinking we could add it for normal RVN first. I was thinking of buying some Raven today and realized it's actually kind of a pain to do it since I need to deal with the centralized exchanges. Been using decentralized exchanges for trading for the past year and have gotten kind of spoiled. Kralverde responds, is there any docs I could read or some IRCs or something? Question mark. Brian MCT responds, yeah, let me find some info. Here's a link, docs.thorchain.org. I'll admit, I don't know much about the technical details of developing with it. Brian MCT responds, the PR for adding LTC doesn't look too bad. Here's another link from gitlab.com/thorchain/ and a bunch of the numbers. Okay. Kralverde responds, yes, seems like it would just be a lot of plug and play. Brian MCT responds, a lot of work would probably be tested. Okay. Okay. I can definitely see a lot of value into getting Raven added to Thorchain. It would let you swap native Raven for a bunch of top chains, BTC, ETH, BNB, etc. And it seems for UTXO coins, BTC forks like Raven, it's not too much work. I won't be around for the dev meeting until this Friday, but I'll post a message early about it and see if anyone's interested in working on it. Now we're moving to the 3rd of November. Grab Roach starts the day. When working on new features for my mining pool, it gets pretty tedious to test some features on main/testnet. What would you recommend to be the best approach for local development? Is there any easy way to make Ravencoin, RavenD, daemons run on its own test blockchain? Question mark. If so, do you have some pointers on it, please? FDOT responds, at Groverich, regtest. Gavroach responds, thank you. I seem to have tried it yesterday, added regtest =1 to my raven.config, but couldn't get it to work somehow. Thank you for pointing me in the right direction. I'll investigate how to properly set it up. FDOT response, FYI, github.com/ravenproject/ravencoin/issues/1110. Brewdog85 jumps into the conversation. I have a lot of questions. Anyone game? FDOT responds, shoot. Arnold Schwarzenegger jumps into the conversation. Bitcoin fixed it in 2019. FDOT responds, yes, they fixed a lot since we forked off, but it's not a big issue really. Arnold Schwarzenegger responds, RVL fixed it 2 minutes ago. When RVN? Question mark. FDOT responds, I made the PR waiting for approvals. Arnold Schwarzenegger responds, nice. FDOT responds, but it is basically not an issue. Moon, sun, and the stars needs to line up pretty nice for this to be exploitable. So RVL got a new GitHub page? Question mark. Arnold Schwarzenegger, yes. I am not a dev/affiliated there, to be clear. They are planning name change in 2 weeks to get rid of the FUD. Temporarily CC name might change to Corvus Coin. And there's a link here. FDOB response, looks like they forgot to update the test. Not that it matters much. Crypto Invader jumps into the conversation. Hello everyone, I am trying to develop some app on Ravencoin. I have just started and have some questions regarding the best way to prototype. I don't have a valid public address. I am behind the NAT and can't mine on testnet, so the best way would be to use regtest, but there I don't have assets available. The assets are gray when I start the node in this mode. Am I doing something wrong, or are assets not available in regtest mode? Question mark. LSJI07 jumps into the conversation for the day at CryptoInvader. Hashtag or check out the channel of testnet is the place for developing new apps running on Ravencoin. Brewdog85 responds, I was trying to figure out how to give a asset liquidity. Grabroach responds, one more queue please. When developing with regtest, I can't seem to get one more queue please. When developing with regtest, I can't seem to get block template to work. This is what I see. Here's a screenshot that says Raven is not connected. Code -9. Okay. So Gabroach responds, okay, so in regtest mode, one has to run multiple nodes and of course generate one transaction at least. Tug, yeah, that's pretty much it for the 3rd. Now jumping into the 4th of November, I'm having some trouble calculating pool hash. I don't know, geez, there's a bunch of numbers. This guy, Tug, just dumped a bunch of numbers everywhere. Let's see here. Well, I guess for the people that are watching on YouTube, this is all that numbers here. Okay. I guess he's trying to calculate something. Not sure. Yeah. Calculating the hash rate? Okay, I guess so. All right, so John Doe jumps into the conversation. This would make Raven in the top 70 or even better if it would price of Rune. That is linked to the price of BNB, BTC, LTC, and ETH to Raven. Will Raven ever support smart contracts? Tug responds, so obviously when you use the really big max diff, it comes out to a pretty solid number. But in chain params.cpp, the max diff is the only one that gives 4096. Let's see. Crawl Better there responds, no, maybe. I need to take a nap. We'll take a closer look in a bit. I think something's up with the diff. Tug responds, ha ha ha, no worries, but thank you. It is fairly confusing. I've thought about doing this and etc, but would make my life a hell of a lot easier. I was going to revisit it at the end of the year. The integration really isn't that hard. Thorchain just has a fairly fragmented code base and is confusing where things actually need to be added. For example, you probably have to add github.com/xchainsjs, as well as that's what all the dexes on Thorchain actually use to send transactions and manage wallets. And then we're moving over to November 5th. FDOV starts the day. At Tron, only approve on the web page, please. Merging with a web page messes up the tidy, clean history, if that matters to anyone but me. Not sure if at Hyperpeak figured out a way to merge on the web page without the stupid merge messages. Command line is by far the best way in my opinion, and you should wait for a second approval before merging into develop. Then we don't have to look so closely when merging from develop to master, as those PRs are huge and impossible to properly review. Hyperpeak responds, it should work with squash and merge, but for a huge commit like this, it might be better to do local first. FDOT responds, at Tron, started with the small ones I made against develop. If we are sticking to the clean and tidy history, I think one of you might have to redo them properly. I like the tidy, but it is developed, so rewriting history isn't a problem, I guess. Hyperpeak responds, okay, no problem. On develop, we can do a force push if needed. Hyperpeak responds, okay, exactly. FDOT responds, somehow he became the committer on those two last ones. Not sure what he did. Hyperpeak responds, I think that's GitHub. It really messes on approve. Tron responds, I should not be a committer. I'm just approving and merging. FDOB response, yeah, the web page sucks. This is an example of the ideal history entry. Category, description, hashtag PRs, name of authors, and name committers. So if we somehow can remove the two merge messages, it would be nice. And there's a bunch of screenshots here. Hyperpeak response, I think the proper ones were all done manually. I take a look tomorrow. Should be no problem to revert/fix. FDOB response, great, thanks. My OCD strikes again. Hyperpeak response, not just yours. What about PR number 1031? Shall we add that? FDOB response, wait, I don't remember. I'll have to look tomorrow. Hans asked about some lines I didn't do exactly like Bitcoin. I don't remember why, so I'll have to check if it was on purpose or not. Hyperpeak response, okay, no hurry. Hans had a commit on that. If we get that all done over the weekend, it's fine, I guess. FDOB response, I just started a build from a clean Ubuntu 18.04 with this github.com/fdoving/Ravencoin commits. Test 3 binaries for Linux, OS X, and Windows tomorrow morning. That is about 8 hours from now. GTG, see you around. All right, November 6th. Starting the day off is FDOV. Test 3 binaries for OS X, Linux, and Windows available. github.com/fdoving/Ravencoin's releases. LSJIO7 responds with another link. github.com/Ravenprojects/Ravencoin/pool/1123 at FDOV. Add in S in the title, please. My OCD is kicking off. Oh, that's funny. So the title says consensus instead of consensus. FDOV, OMG. Need to redo it at once. Thanks at LSJIO7. Fixed. LSJIO7 response at core developer. We have started getting the word out to the community on media platforms that we need contributors and testers to look at the code linked by FDOB above for issues. At FDOB, the binaries canceled during creation. Everything okay? FDOB response, LSJIO7, where? I have binaries, github.com/fdoving/Ravencoin/releases, tag v4.7.0 test 3. LSJIO7 response, I was looking at the wrong one. .pool1123. Sorry. Tripped at the first link. Proper ID 10T error. I did there. Promising restart. FDOB responds, one of the PRs failed because a fail depends download. Okay. LSJIO7, the drop down section menu for Raven pricing at the top. LSJIO7. When rescanning, the question icon is clickable in Windows but simply shows no access symbol. This info could be enhanced. Minor details if re-importing seeds words work fine. The no access is good though. It blocks the wallet completely while rescanning. LSJIO7. Rescanning didn't show any Raven or assets in the wallet even after restarting. My config was fully synced and transaction index and asset index will try and re-index to see if that works. LSJIO7 re-indexing doesn't show any progress other than the time it's up to the lower bar. Okay, I'm showing stuff where I see fine-tuning issues and not just the pools added. LSJIO7 response, nitpicking while waiting for the re-indexing to finish. Framinator jumps into the conversation. Yo, I work in accounting but want to learn more on blockchain. Obviously, he's not a crypto guy. He's a anybody that jumps into the conversation that says blockchain has two words, yeah, he ain't into crypto. I'll do that again. Framinator jumps into the conversation. Yo, I work in accounting, but I want to learn more on the blockchain and the systems behind it. Is there a good knowledge base somewhere? Question mark. Specific to RVN? Sorry. Crawlvetta responds, a good place to start would probably be the Bitcoin wiki. LSJIO7, that's actually a good one, Crawlvetta. Big props on that. LSJIO7 responds, general concepts and ideas. This will get you up to speed at Framinator. And this is actually, I want to read this to you guys, but this is a very, very long paper. I'm probably going to have to say that for another time. Or you guys can definitely jump in into the Discord/development channel. And it's on the 6th of November. And it's covered as spoiler. It is the Ravencoin Community Guide of 2021. I realized this is from LSJ IO7. I realized I hadn't updated my combined reference stuff for a while and need to add a few bits regarding P2SH now. But let's not get carried away. Rereading through, I have to update lots. Ravencoiners have been busy. I'll sort those edits tomorrow. Sleep now while my wallet re-indexes. I'll ping you. I'll ping, no doubt, if there's any big issues. November 7th, finally catching up, huh? I started Raven mining 6 days ago. I transferred certain Raven to my wallet. Sorry, this is by Poseidon. I can see the transaction and wallet balance on Ravencoin.network, but I am unable to check it Raven wallet desktop or mobile. The app is syncing for the past 6 days. What to do to resync the app? LSJIO7 responds, at Poseidon. Check out the help desk channel. LSJIO7 responds, wallet gets seed, works fine. Hans Schmidt responds, FDOB, it is not OCD to want to meaningful Git history. It needs to be a requirement. We should revert and redo any merge which is done incorrectly. The procedure we established earlier this year is the correct one. I support you, but more importantly, as I was amused to see a few months ago, Linus Torvalds supports you. See his recent rant on the Linux kernel forum against someone who used the GitHub GUI to merge. And here's a link. There's another of those things that I really don't want to see. GitHub creates absolutely useless garbage merges, and you should never ever use the GitHub interfaces to merge anything. GitHub is a perfectly fine hosting site and does a number of other things well too, but merges is not one of those things. At Hyperpeak, at Tron. All right. Darton jumps into the conversation. Will Raven ever be a wealth symbol? Question mark. FDOV responds, I guess you need to talk to them about that. We can probably assist if they need help, but we don't sign any deals or agree to any terms, etc. That is we, as in Ravencoin. Okay, and Blockchain John, that's me, and this is the reason why I wanted to record this for you guys. I respond, beautiful. Can I read this verbatim on the podcast? I'm looking for permission to do so. I decided just to let them know that I'm going to be doing this. Then Hyperpeak responds, Hans, thanks. That's a really good quote from Linus. We'll do the revert and remerge this week. Strange thing is that the GUI sometimes works okay, but sometimes produces garbage and it looks random to me. Then LSJIO7 responds to my message, can do if you want to. I have some updates that I'm working on to make more current. Shahzad responds, looking for a Ravencoin NPM node module to create and send raw transactions. Any suggestions? Brewdog85 responds, is anyone working on DEX for Ravencoin for tokens to add liquidity, or is this just not possible? Kinkaju responds, there are already working decentralized exchanges for Ravencoin/Ravencoin assets using atomic swaps. Check out raventrader.net. As far as DEX liquidity, that would probably require the USDO stablecoin proposal to be funded first. LSJIO7 responds, at Brewdog85, Atomic Dex has Raven to other crypto pairs. Once P2SH hard fork is done, that can be extended to Ravencoin assets token pairs if the issuer wishes. And Brewdog85 has a little gift of a bird saying, what? Say what? Kinkajou responds with a link here, raventrader.net/help. Check it out. Fully P2P swaps between Ravencoin and Ravencoin assets. As LSJ said, once P2SH is live, you'll even be able to swap across different cryptocurrencies using cross-chain atomic swaps. And then I jump back in and say, hey, thank you, LSJIO7, for, I guess, giving me permission to read this verbatim. Push jumps into the conversation. Today, this conversation starts today? Yeah. Oh, I guess we're today. We're on the 9th of November now. Yeah. Push says, at FDOB, so I thought for a while that increasing it to 50k open files has fixed the issue with Ravencore because it seemed okay for a long while. It started doing it again, it seems. Restarted, it checks it's running with high U limits. Same thing, IDK. What gives? It's most bizarre. I'll try and look into it more soon and let you know. Oh, that was tough. Shadows responds, where should I go for technical support? I have questions about RPC and NFTs. Building Raven right now. And here's a screenshot of a bunch of libraven, I guess, codes, binaries, I guess, right? Yeah. And Burix responds, go to the help desk channel. And that's it. That's it from the development channel to the current time. So that's the whole month of November to now. That was pretty long. So let's see. Let's go ahead and turn back my phone on and see. Well, okay, we got a party in here. Thank you guys for listening. Let me see. Let me get the 100%. All right, 100%. Give me that. There you go. There you go. Awesome. I appreciate that. Now, thank you. Now, if you guys want to jump into the conversation, this conversation is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube. So if you want, go ahead and request permissions to speak, and I will let you speak and kind of review of what's been going on with the Ravencoin development. Keep in mind, I've already been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. I would appreciate if somebody jumped into the conversation and took over for a few minutes while I get a sip of water. So anyone, please, I would prefer it. Papa Don, you want to jump in? All right, here you go. Who do we have? Quothing, thank you. I appreciate it. Jump in, buddy. Jump in and welcome. Say hello to everyone in the Ravencoin community. Where are you at, buddy? There you go.
Yo. Just basically from what I got out of that is just that it seems like we need development yesterday. And that seems to be the heart of where the slowdown in our bottleneck, the biggest bottleneck that Ravencoin has is just getting developers. Competent developers that I mean, it's tough because there isn't this huge paycheck coming your way for it once you've built it.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be our biggest gap.
Yeah.
Is there any ideas of how we can attract development? I was DMing with Adam,
mm-hmm.
and I was talking with him about universities, and that seems to be our I don't want to say a no-brainer, but a big attack point that we could do.
I don't know if we have bounties. Do we have bounties? If we have bounties,
I saw something. There was actually, I was on the Discord while you were reading this through.
Uh-huh.
Let me double check. I was reading over and looking for some bounties.
On what channel? Is it for development or is it for another project?
Never mind. Nothing's been posted in there since June 22nd.
Okay. There's a bounty channel?
Bounty discussion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So they were just talking. Yeah. Yeah, there's literally nothing there. Yeah. So that might be a thing, but where is the bounty going to be coming from? That's the question. You got to keep in mind that all the coins are fundraised from the community. You know, if the community wants, the Ravencoin community wants to fundraise for good hardcore developers, they're willing to do the work, but they want to get paid for their work, right? Um, and that's the only thing, dude. Like that's the only issue is that we don't have an actual budget to hire anybody like that. Everybody that's doing work right now, pushing out P2SH, that's all voluntary. You know, that's just people that have a passion for Ravencoin and just want to see it succeed. You know.
That's why I think that advertising something like this to people that are majoring in either some level of computer science, that is one hell of a way that you can prove your work of what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Is taking something like Ravencoin and making some major improvements to it, and every single bit of your contributions is public there on GitHub. So I feel like that is really a strong push that we could make, just simply
they can do the same,
getting it in front of college students that are majoring in this.
They can do the same thing on another project and get paid a lot more money for that, man. Get paid lots of money in bounties, right? Yeah, that's the only thing, man. People want to get paid for their work. You know, they spend years and years and years learning code, and you know when we're competing with other projects that are paying them a lot of money, and we're over here saying, hey, we would appreciate it if you're willing to give us a little of your time to work on our code. Well, you know.
Yeah, I was watching Hoskinson.
Yeah.
He was doing an interview with my main man Lex Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, not only is the man brilliant, but they've got a huge bankroll that they're paying out to a lot of different major universities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we're up against.
I think another issue with Ravencoin, and it's kind of unfortunate. I think you can disagree with me if you want, but considering that Ravencoin is pretty much a direct copy of the Bitcoin code language, which is C++. C++ is more of an older type of language, and not a lot of people are using that. They've moved on to more, I guess, modern coding that makes it much more easier to develop projects, right? To try to find somebody that does C++ is very difficult, let alone somebody that's going to do it for free, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you've got some solid points, and it seems as if either, I mean, just knowing that that's the uphill battle that we're up against, I guess, I mean, and I don't want to speak for the community, but I guess what can we do for those that don't know how to do those things? I mean, how can we get this attention? Do we need to start a crowdfund? Is that something that's like a realistic thing? Like, would we be able to even give them the work if we found someone to hire? Is the development team willing to do something like that, to work with somebody like that? Because it seems like it a little bit from what I've gathered from the guy developing with like the wallet, developing up on the page. He volunteered for it on Twitter. I don't know if you caught that. Mm-hmm. He's also on the Reddit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just seems that we need to figure out how we can do that, and if it means crowdfunding it, if it means, you know, everybody in every city that they're in approaching the university or somebody that's able to, whatever. Mm-hmm. I guess I would like just some level of direction of how we can solve these problems, rather than, because it seems like we sit in this circle a lot of just like, well, this needs to work and this needs to get updated. It's like, cool, well, how do we do that? How do I get this in the right hands? Who do I need to look for to get this in their hands? If we had some clarity from the development team, I feel like that we would be able to band together as a community to get that. We just need to know.
So if I recall correctly, sometime last year, there was some discussion that having a fundraiser to pay for proper, like, dedicated developers for Ravencoin would probably be the best approach, and that money just being funded to donated to the Ravencoin Foundation would then in turn be able to properly document it and pay out the developers that are working on Ravencoin full time. Did that ever come through? No, I don't think there was enough community interest at the time. Maybe it's something to be brought back up. Um, I think what we got out of that instead was Braveland. Yeah, well, I mean, something's better than nothing. Anyways, folks, anyone else that wants to jump on and have a little chit chat about development? And when's your guess? Cool thing. When's your guess of the P2SH?
I don't think it'll be this year.
No.
I'm not sure if it'll even be before the halving.
Now,
just judging by the context of the conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Now that I'm reading it verbatim, yeah. Now that yeah, exactly, I agree with you. It's not gonna be.
We're getting the Elon Musk in 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the passion and drive and the excitement, but there's not enough people developing to get it to the proper deadline, right? Because we're counting down days.
Same problem as Elon. Super, you know, like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can jump over the moon. And then 2 weeks later, it hasn't rolled out. 6 months later, everybody's like, yo, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think it's too far off. It sounds like they're at the last little bits of it. From what did you think? Like beta in the test net, it sounded like things were running somewhat smoothly, right? They at least have something going on.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm not at all trying to down or bash the development team. I think that they've got some great things being worked on, and it seems like that there's just so much to work on and not enough hands to help do it.
Yeah.
And I wish that I knew enough and knew more so that I could help, but I know that I don't, and I'm nowhere near competent. I mean, again, the C++ part of that is that's the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's JavaScript and
exactly.
et cetera now.
Solidity. Anyways, we're gonna go to wrap this up. I lost my voice. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you guys like this, make sure you guys check out the video. Give me a thumbs up and a comment and say that you guys would like me to make more of these. I might consider it, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it an hour and a half long of nonstop conversations, because I know my vocal box is like, I'm done. I can't talk anymore. My jaw hurts. I need water. I need water. Give me more water. I ran out of water. I got to go get some water. Anyways, you guys, it was nice hanging out with you guys. I'm excited for Ravencoin, without a doubt. I believe in Ravencoin is going to be the vision of what Ravencoin is going to be is not the vision that we have now. I'm sure it's going to change many times over and over and over, because that's what software is all about, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I want to see some predictions. That's what we should have. We should have predictions. A day of predictions. Like, what do you envision Ravencoin be? Are we still going to be stuck 10 years down the future trying to get P2SH going? I hope not. I hope not. All right, guys. So with that said, I'm out of here. Nice chatting with you guys. Ravencoin. Raven. To the moon. I'm out. Hold on. I got to say it right. Stack sats and hodl. Adios. Buy my book.